Something's buzzing in Santa Clara right now, and it's the kind of buzz that doesn't fit neatly into one clean headline. There's a guy in that quarterback room that plenty of people would love to see shipped out, and he might be the life raft for the entire Shanahan era. There's a pass rusher who looks like the perfect fix on a spreadsheet, until you stop and ask what you're actually paying for. There's a straight-up monster on the offensive line sitting on a cap number that makes you wince, and it tugs on every other decision. And then there's one line from the heartbeat of this defense that could either light a fire under the faithful or become the quote that follows a season around like a shadow. So I'll put it right to you. Would you trade stability for a shot at more upside? Tap like, hit subscribe, and ride with me, because I'm coming back at the end with the wildest part of this whole thing, and it's going to start arguments. Because this isn't just Mac Jones stays or goes. This is the kind of fork-in-the-road call that separates a team that's prepared from a team that's basically praying the football gods are in a good mood. Diana Russini at The Athletic laid it out. San Francisco isn't expected to trade Mac Jones this offseason. And when it's phrased like that, it usually tells you the conversations behind closed doors have already happened, and the answer isn't as simple as just take whatever you can get. The urgency is obvious too. The Brock Purdy window isn't only about how good he is, it's about how often he's available. He's missed time over the last 2 seasons, and if 2026 turns into another year where you're holding your breath and hoping the backup can just keep the plane in the air, the whole season can tilt fast. Fans love the simple version. Flip Mac for a pick. Cool. Which pick? A first rounder? Yeah, if someone walks in and drops that on your desk, you don't stare at it for 3 days. You take it and you sprint. But that's combine daydream territory. The more realistic outcome is something like a third-round pick. And that's where the alarm starts going off in your head. Because a third-rounder is not some guaranteed instant contributor. That can turn into a linebacker who never cracks the rotation, a running back who gets buried, a wideout who needs 2 years just to stop thinking and start playing in this offense. Be honest. Are you really comfortable making that trade when your starter has already shown you he can miss stretches? And there's a layer people dodge because it sounds messy, but it's real. Job security. If you're the GM and head coach, you don't get to think like a fan. Every decision is tied to your future. If a season goes sideways and you're sitting there empty-handed at quarterback behind Purdy, that's how you end up answering questions you really don't want to answer. Keeping Mac with 1 year left is basically insurance. You'd rather never use it, but if you need it and you don't have it, your entire year can go up in smoke. Now, yes, Mac wants to start. Of course he does. But I want to start doesn't magically create a market. Any team trading for him is likely staring at an extension that pays actual starter money. That narrows the buyers immediately. And that's why the 49ers aren't sprinting to sell low on an asset that could literally keep their season alive if Plan A breaks. This is exactly where the faithful splits down the middle. One side hates the idea of paying too much for a QB2. They want every dollar dumped into the pass rush and the trenches. The other side has scar tissue. Fans who have watched seasons unravel the moment the quarterback went down and everything turned into survival football. So where are you on it? Are you team trade Mac and take the pick? Or team keep him and protect the whole era? Throw it in the comments, because I can already hear the arguments warming up. And while we're talking pass rush, there's a name being floated that sounds like the answer at first glance, but there's one detail almost nobody is really digging into, and that's where things get complicated. Odafe Oweh. The box score looks clean. The production is real. Over the last couple seasons, he's posted numbers that make you sit up a little straighter. But the part people keep skipping is how he wins, and what that means for the identity of your defense. On paper, it's easy to say, add sacks, problem solved. In real life, usage matters a lot. Oweh isn't the kind of edge you leave out there every snap and just forget about. He's closer to a specialist. He comes in to hunt quarterbacks. He comes off when the situation demands more reliability against the run. That's not a shot, that's a roll. The issue is what you're paying for that roll. If you're handing out top-of-market type money, you're usually paying for a player who stays on the field and doesn't telegraph what you're doing. Paying that kind of money for a narrower job is a serious philosophical choice. Now, the fit is there, and you can see the outline of it. San Francisco already used a role like this. Bryce Huff was doing something similar. The difference is production. If the idea is replacing Huff with a more effective version of that same pass rush package, that's not crazy. You cut Huff, you save money, and you redirect it towards someone who brings more juice when it's third and long. Pair that with Trent Williams holding it down earlier in the down, and suddenly the front looks a lot more dangerous. You're not begging for a blitz just to create pressure. You're generating it with personnel. But here's the snag, and it's the exact reason opinions split. If the game script isn't favorable, if you're in one of those grinded-out games where opponents can stay balanced, a specialist is harder to justify snap by snap. And money tied up in a narrow roll hurts more when you've got other holes to patch. Think about that for a second. You're not arguing whether Oweh can rush the passer. You're arguing whether he's worth that kind of investment for how specifically you'd use him. And if you don't pay, someone else might. That's the league. The real question is whether that price matches this roster's priorities right now with everything else on the to-do list. Because there's a veteran on this team sitting on a cap hit that's absolutely massive, and what the 49ers decide to do with him could unlock moves like this or choke them off. Which brings us to the guy people keep oversimplifying. A lot of folks see the age and shut the whole conversation down. He's 38. That's it. Let it ride. It's an easy take, comfortable, but it misses the contradiction that actually matters. Extending Trent Williams right now isn't about pretending he's going to play forever. It's about making sure an old cap structure doesn't strangle a roster that still wants to make a playoff push. The number is brutal. His 2026 cap hit is sitting near $39 million. That's quarterback money attached to a left tackle, and it forces hard choices elsewhere. Could the 49ers eat it? Sure, but they don't have to. And the reason is the structure. There's still bonus money left in the deal. If you extend him, you can spread that cap impact out. You can smooth the spike. You can turn a cliff into a hill. And that's not some abstract cap nerd debate. That's football consequences you feel on Sundays. Easing that cap pressure opens up space for actual players. It opens room for help on the defensive front. It opens depth that saves you when injuries hit, because they always hit. And with the salary cap rising every year, pushing some money forward can be less painful than taking the full hit all at once. From Trent's side, the incentive is obvious too. At 38, playing out a deal with no extra security is a risk. You lock in more guaranteed money now, you get paid, and you cut down the gamble. For the team, it doesn't have to be some long, scary commitment. A shorter extension can do the job. Lower the immediate cap number, keep an elite tackle protecting your quarterback, and maintain stability up front. And yep, this one splits the faithful again. Some fans hate kicking money down the road. They call it future problems. Other fans look at the present and say, what future is worth it if you let the offensive line crumble and shrink the whole playbook? Because when Trent isn't out there, you feel it. The red zone gets tighter. The run game gets less reliable. The quarterback has to speed up. It's not always screaming at you in the box score, but it changes what you're even comfortable calling. Now, let me say this. When you lay everything on the table, it starts to connect. Quarterback insurance, a targeted pass rush swing, smart cap management, protection for your QB. And then you get the emotional spark that lights the whole thing on fire. Fred Warner went on Pardon My Take and basically said the next one, they're winning it. He said it like a guarantee. And whether you love that or you hate it, that's not just a throwaway podcast moment. That's a public bet. And sure, people are going to roll their eyes because the league is full of bold guarantees that turn into punchlines. But Warner isn't some random guy chasing attention. He's the engine of that defense. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. When he talks, the locker room feels it. And when you put a statement like that out in the world, you raise the pressure inside your own building. There's no ducking it after that. That's the practical impact. Expectations change behavior. Young players feel it. Veterans feel it. Mistakes get louder. The standard gets heavier. A statement like that can unify a team like glue, or it can turn into a weight if the season starts slow. And that's why it matters. Warner is putting responsibility on himself and the group. He's not hiding from it. And once again, the faithful splits. Half the fan base hears that and goes, "Finally, mentality, no more trauma." The other half goes, "Stop talking, just win." Neither side is crazy. Confidence fuels execution, but bold promises can create pressure you didn't need. The thing that flips the vibe is health. Warner knows it. Bosa knows it. Everyone in that building knows it. If the defense isn't stuck running on fumes, if the roster isn't constantly patching holes, that confidence doesn't sound reckless. It sounds like a challenge. So now we tie the whole thing together. Keeping Mac is protection against chaos. Chasing a specialist pass rusher is a calculated swing. Extending Trent is a way to breathe today without pretending tomorrow doesn't exist. And Warner's statement is the temperature check. This team still believes the moment is now. And here's the wild part I promised at the start. None of this reads like a quiet rebuild. This reads like a conscious bet, a real one. So I'll ask you straight. Would you rather have the quiet safety net or go all in with your defensive leader saying out loud that the next Super Bowl is theirs? Jump in the comments and argue it out. And if you're riding with the 49ers, subscribe, because this era isn't done yet. Not even close.